El Salvador has made the brazen move of adopting Bitcoin as its legal tender, in a move that shocked the world while other countries are still divided on whether they should accept it as a legal currency or not. But with El Salvador's move, what does this mean for the rest of the world? Today's video will be discussing the effects of one such country on the finance industry, so stay tuned to know more. El Salvador becomes the first country to legally accept Bitcoin as tender. Last June 9, El Salvador hit headline news and made history as the first country to acknowledge Bitcoin as a legal currency in their nation. Current President Nayib Bukele was the one who proposed the bill, which was approved by Congress with 62 out of 84 possible votes. President Bukele proposed the bill with the intent of helping fellow Salvadorians living abroad to send money to their loved ones back home. This approved bill took effect 90 days upon approval. As such, the crypto giant now became a legal tender for the country alongside the US dollar. This law now entails that every business must adopt Bitcoin as one of their payment options for goods or services, unless the said business is unable to provide the technology needed to accomplish the transaction. Just before the voting for the bill took place, the president took to Twitter his thoughts on the bill, saying, "It'll bring financial inclusion, investment, tourism, innovation, and economic development for our country. We must break the paradigms of the past," Bukele wrote on his Twitter. El Salvador has the right to advance towards the first world. To many, making Bitcoin a legal tender comes as positive news, since sending money to their loved ones back home is subject to high transaction costs, with around 70% of people having no bank account, according to a report by newscientist.com. With Bitcoin, individuals can now transact easily across borders since it doesn't require banks. To further celebrate the law's approval, every Salvadorian national has been gifted $30 in Bitcoin, which they can use to shop or pay taxes with. Business establishments are enforced to follow suit, but they can instantly swap all Bitcoin to dollars once received. Aside from gifting the residents $30 worth of Bitcoin, the government also purchased 400 Bitcoins worth around $20 million ahead of its launch day. And a few days later, the country made an additional purchase of 150 more Bitcoins, which the president himself announced, making El Salvador's Bitcoin holdings 550 coins. "We just bought a dip," President Bukele wrote in a tweet on September 19, which referred to the recent drop in Bitcoin prices. "They can never beat you if you buy the dips," Bukele wrote. Presidential advice. Statistics show that El Salvador's economy heavily relies on remittances, which makes up approximately 20% of the country's gross domestic product, GDP. More than 2 million Salvadorian nationals reside outside the country, but they continue to send money to their loved ones back at home, around $4 billion annually, according to reports. Specialists and financial analysts described the recently approved law as a game changer and considered it as an accomplishment for this Central American nation. But to others, a lot remains skeptical, since Bitcoin's volatility is one of its infamous characteristics. Some experts even aired their concerns, warning how the adoption of cryptocurrency legally could complicate matters with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, where El Salvador is seeking a more than $1 billion program. Over the years, we've seen prices of this crypto giant fluctuate consistently, which may pose a problem sooner rather than later. Bitcoin suffers bumpy debut and the public despise it. The Bitcoin law was finally in effect after September 7, but as expected, things didn't run smoothly, and if anything, it was disastrous to say the least. Shortly before the launch, the government installed ATMs that allow Bitcoin to be converted into dollars and withdraw without commission from the digital wallet Chivo. The wallet allows its users to use either Bitcoin or US dollars and transact between the two without any additional fees. However, several technical glitches were experienced by Chivo, but were managed to be resolved later on. "We have disconnected it while increasing the capacity of the image capture servers," tweeted President Nayib Bukele. The installation problems that some people had were for that reason. "Like all innovations, El Salvador's Bitcoin process has a learning curve," he said on Twitter. "Not everything will be achieved in a day or in a month." The country's choice to adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender was no doubt a large factor in why the crypto giant experienced fluctuations shortly before its rollout in El Salvador. A day later, angry protests broke out as people marched in the capital with the initial rollout of the system and suffered several bumps along the way. Several protesters burned tires and set off fireworks in front of the Supreme Court building as the government deployed heavily armed authorities to defuse the situation. One San Salvador resident spoke, "This is a currency that's not going to work for pupusa vendors, bus drivers, and shopkeepers. Pupusas as a traditional corn-based snack in the country." He further added, "This is a currency that's ideal for big investors who want to speculate with their economic resources." The same day, Bitcoin witnessed a decline in market prices, wherein it was trading around $47,100 as of 11 a.m. in Singapore, having dropped as much as 17% a day earlier before paring some of their losses. Will the rest of the world follow suit? El Salvador's move to adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender is a giant leap forward, and in an attempt by the country to position itself as a global leader in cryptocurrency, and even a Panamanian congressman is even proposing legislation that mirrors El Salvador's footsteps. However, most countries are gunning for their own cryptocurrency launch, which is similar to Bitcoin that cannot be controlled by a central bank. The PwC published a report earlier this year wherein central bank digital currencies, CBDC, are already running, with several countries already taking part in it. The same report also stated that 60 governments are currently working on one, and that 88% are basing them on blockchains, the technology behind Bitcoin, though not all CBDCs will be cryptocurrencies. What is a CBDC? A central bank digital currency is a digital currency that's issued and backed by a central bank. Seeing the economic rise of cryptocurrencies and stablecoins led the world's central banks in realizing the need to provide an alternative or let the future of money pass them by. Several countries are already testing CBDC, which include the Bahamas, Sweden, Japan, France, Switzerland, Turkey, and the Philippines. As reported by papers.com, China is leading in the use of CBDC with the launch of its digital yuan. The digital yuan is still being tested at the moment, has already been integrated into the country's subway system. Come Winter Olympics, China will allow foreign nationals to use the digital yuan as long as they provide their passport details to the People's Bank of China. Word of the digital yuan spread back in April 2020, wherein a screenshot of a test version developed by the Agricultural Bank of China was leaked. The following month, 4 cities have already taken part, namely Shenzhen, Suzhou, Chengdu, and Zhonggan Zone near Beijing. The Bahamas followed suit a few months later when they launched the Sand Dollar in October 2020. The Sand Dollar was the world's first widely available CBDC, and India is also looking into launching its own CBDC. On the other hand, Europe is also looking into the creation and launch of a digital euro, but for now, the country greenlit a 2-year-long study on the various nuances that would factor in said goal. Governments from across the globe are well aware of the delicacy and importance of introducing CBDC, so it's only proper that they find the balance in exhibiting anonymity and transparency to its users, since there's a strong possibility that these will serve as the national currency. An excerpt from the paper's report read, "It's important to establish the value of central bank digital currencies and add functionality to foster the growth of the digital economy." While CBDCs are primarily a subject of macroeconomic debates on the level of governments and central banks, they're bound to affect businesses and individual customers as well. This is supported by the fact that interest in digital assets has been progressively growing among both retail and institutional players of financial markets in the past years. Using CBDCs to secure automation of payments is a possibility. Programmable payments are of great appeal to businesses. Quick and cheap borderless transactions are another aspect wherein digital currencies can shine. CBDCs can serve as a solution for the unbanked, aid in the development of better taxation systems, and provide real-time insight into the current macroeconomic situation, allowing for more timely corrections if those are needed. Is CBDC the future of money? With several countries already participating in various studies and 14 others conducting test pilots, CBDCs may be widely implemented in respective countries sooner rather than later, since 81 countries are also looking into the possibility of introducing CBDCs into their nations. Of the 4 largest central banks, the United States is running behind the race in implementing CBDCs, since the country is still divided regarding this matter. With this, we're ending today's video on El Salvador's acceptance of Bitcoin as a legal tender and what it means for the world. Thanks for watching today's video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next episode, see ya!